Life is precious, and we all have the opportunity of living it to the fullest. Unfortunately, so few of us know how to manage it all. How do we account for our opportunities? How do we account for our time? How do we account for our relationships, health, spirituality, homes, finances, influence, and careers? How do we account for the one life we have to live? I am so glad you asked. In this program, you will find answers to all of these questions and more. Welcome to the Account for Your Life podcast with your host, the healthy accountant himself, Jay Moore.
What's happening? Welcome back to another episode of the Account for Your Life podcast. Jay Moore, the healthy accountant, helping you to account for your life. Today, we're going to be looking at and talking about why is so important. Why is so important. If you caught the last episode of the Account for Life podcast, we went into why, reason, and purpose, the difference between these three words, and the why, I believe, is one of the most interesting, if not most important words that we got to ask ourselves. Because let me ask you this question. Has there ever been a time in your life where there was something you really desired? There's some place you wanted to go. There's something you really wanted to have. There's just something you want to experience, and you haven't been able to do it or feel it or have it or experience it? You are not alone, because that's also been my experience. So that's why we're talking about this today, because hopefully at the end of this episode, you and I will be equipped to know how to use why we should use why every time we are getting ready to get started. All right, guys. So we are right at the middle, right at the beginning of the second half of 2025. And I think this is an important time. This is an important time for men and women of faith, people who have a mission, people who have something on their heart that they know that they have to accomplish, people who are really pushing and have, for lack of a term, been hoping for different outcomes. And I believe that in the next 6 months, over this last half of 2025, I'm praying that we all can experience reaching a goal, just getting to an objective, making more money, if that's what it was, getting to the body of your life, going places you've always wanted to go. I'm just praying for you that over the next 6 months, something miraculously and amazingly happens. And that's why today, why is so important. So several years ago, I'm just give you a quick story. Several years ago, which kind of brought me into this understanding of why. I was reading a book, and it's somewhere on my shelf behind me. It's called Millionaire Success Secrets, and it's written by a guy named Dean Graziosi. Dean Graziosi wrote this book, great book, but I'm talking the biggest takeaway that I got from this book that I still remember to this day is his framework for 7 levels of why. 7 levels. And he explains how you must go 7 levels deep to find the root, to find what it is that you are really looking to get to do. And it's like get to the emotional aspect. See, what's interesting is that most of us are living someone else's life. Most of us are doing things that we probably don't want to do, or we're only doing it because maybe, I got to do this because I got to make some money. Man, I got to do this. I got to pay the bills. Man, I got to do this because this is what my parents wanted. Man, I got to do this because this is what my kids need. Like a lot of times we're doing things, and it's not the things that we actually desire to do. We're just doing them out of kind of like repetition, kind of like, I was born here, so this is where I'm going to live. And I remember, living this way, until I'm reading this book, and the book is really giving me something. I'm like, wow, it's giving me some confidence. Gave me some motivation too, guys. See, motivation is the first level. That's the first level of getting up off the couch. That's the first level of making your move. Just getting motivated, like the motivation I needed to start running 10, 11 years ago was, what if I could? That was the question. What if I could take off about 10, 15 pounds? At the time, I was the same weight that I am today, which is crazy, right? I was I was actually a little heavier. I was almost 215. I might have seen 217 back then. For a guy with no muscles, that was not good. And so here it is. I'm like 215, 217. And I'm just like, yo, what if I could let go of 15, 20 pounds? What if I could? Watch the word I'm using. Let go of. Release. Not the other word. You know what they normally say. What if I can? The L word? I'm not going to say it because anything that you want to find at some point. So I did not want to find that extra pounds that I had, the same way that I've gotten it. So here it is. What if I could? And so here it is. Dean is introducing me to this concept of why. This is the heart of the matter, guys. Why? So why is so important? Because at the time, I wanted to accomplish things, wanted to make more money, millionaire, all that stuff, right? But it's the why. And I went through the exercise, and the thing that he says, if you are not weeping by the time you get to 7, then you haven't gotten there yet. That was scary. Because the first few times, man, I was like, man, I can't get it. And then it hit me. I'd gone through some things. I'd gone through bankruptcy at the time. I'd gone through just a big crash, and look, going through being in foreclosure, repos. I'd gone through that. And then I also looked around, I was like, man, I'm looking at my kids. My kids were young at the time. And I'm like, man, I want a better life for them. But here's the thing. What was I missing? When I got to the heart of the matter, here's the word I want you to write down. It was control. It was control. The reason why I needed to change my life was because it would give me total control over my life. Isn't that wild that a person could be living a life and not have total control over their own life? Doesn't that sound absurd? It felt absurd. Let me ask you, what would you like to control in your life? Here's some of the things I wanted to control. I wanted to control where I went. I wanted to control when I went. I wanted to control what I could buy. I wanted to control, how much I had. I wanted to control all of my experiences. I wanted to control ultimately my time. And when I got there, 7 levels down into this, it was total control is what, at least I got to that as the first rendition, if you will, of getting to the heart of the matter of why. I think that was back in 2016 or 2017 it was around 2016, 2017, because at the time, 2017, Jenny was at home. So that means I had already had this faith walk where I asked her to leave her job, and now we were in it. And here's the thing, though, guys. You don't know how long something is going to take because there's so many things. Everybody's life is different. I was sitting at the gym this morning thinking about, man, how can I really take the gifts that I have and really help people in the marketplace? And I says, man, everybody's life experience is different. Everybody's desires are different. Everybody is not on the same level. Like, how could I use my gifts to help? Because at the end of the day, you don't get to have without giving someone else so that they can have. Ain't that wild? we don't get to have without giving someone else so that they can have. See, when you were born into this world, just like I was born into this world, in circumstances that you're in, circumstances that I was in, we take on the life of those around us. I took on the life of Willie and Nellie Moore, who passed away in 2025, February 6th and February 26th of 2025, 20 days apart, gone. It's still mind-boggling that it happened so fast. Didn't have a chance to really take it in. But then I said, this is a gift. This is a blessing. Because now I have something in my arsenal that helps my why. Here's what's in my arsenal. And this is how you can start building your why. I did not make the money fast enough so that we could have better experiences while my parents were living. Now, here's the thing. You could start crying. You could start like, oh my goodness, I can't believe I lost my parents. But then I says, man, I've got to do it faster now before I get out of here, so that one, I can show my kids, not just tell my kids. They can see me and then they can say, wow, I want to follow in the paths of dad. That doesn't come through telling them about it. It comes from showing them. So my why got even stronger. My parents weren't able to do that. And I wasn't able to give them better experiences when they needed them most. Why is important? See, there's a book that I have on my shelf. It's called Start with Why, written by Simon Sinek. Yeah, Simon. And obviously, you get the premise of the book. Start with why. Why basically just says, it just basically says that before you start, know the purpose, the reason, the plan. Know exactly where you're going. Have some clarity about what it is you're going to accomplish. Don't think small. Think big. What's crazy is everything around us, somebody started with why. Somebody says, well, why do I need to make all these computers? Why do I need to make this microphone? Why do I need to make these cameras? Why do I need to make this desk? Why do I need to build this house? Someone started with a why, and they had a vision, and it was clear exactly where they were going. And then they enlisted people to help them, and bam, came to life. See, a lot of times we are not clarified, or we lack clarity on where we're going. Imagine that. Man, I've lacked clarity. This is not me talking at you or talking. I'm telling you, this is my experience. I've lacked clarity. My wife even told me sometimes. It's wishy-washy, going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Because here's the thing about choice and decision. They're two different things. A choice, you can go back and forth. A decision, you can't go back and forth. It's when you decide. When I decided that health was my wealth, my life changed totally. I have not allowed myself to stop. Now, here's the thing. I'm going to be honest. It's not easy when you make a decision, when you keep going down a path. I said, I'm not healthy. Well, let me say this. I'm not going to tell you I'm not healthy. I'm looking for a level of health where, see, my body tells me my problems, meaning, oh, I got some pain in my knees. Why? There's something going on in there. I got some pain over here on my neck. There's something going on over there. And that's not from lifting weights or anything. This is from something else. So those are my pains. But then, if I'm looking around now, as you can see, like Like I've been working out, like, so you can see that that's happening, right? But then there's like, well, I still, my stomach is not as flat as it needs to be. See, at the end of the day, we got to keep working to get to the place where we want to go, but we got to be clarified on where we're going. We got to be clarified on the fact that, wait a second, then that means that there's things that I can't do. There's things that I have to do, and we have to move towards it. Now, if we're going to change our health experience, how does one change their health experience? Where does it start? It starts with your decision, then knowing what to do. Here's what's interesting about knowing what to do. We all know. We already have it. It's kind of like, should I eat that? Shouldn't eat that. Should I go to the gym? I should. Should I go for a walk? Should I go for a run? Should I clear my mind? Should I meditate? Should I pray? Like, what are all the shoulds? And are we doing the shoulds? Most of the time, we have the shoulds, and yet we still don't do the shoulds. And then 6 months goes, like, this year's going to end, and then the next year's going to start. And we're like, well, I guess we'll start again. When what if you started today asking your question, why is this important? Why is my health important? And then you say, well, it's important because, I'd like to be healthy. This is first level. Why is it important that you like to be healthy? Well, because if I like to be healthy, then, it's just a matter of time that I'll get to the body of my dreams. Why is it important for you to get to the body of your dreams? Well, because when I get to the body of my dreams, I'm going to feel so good. I'm going to look so good. Why is it important that you should feel good and look good? Well, it's important because when I feel good and I look good, I want to do good. Why is it important for you to even do good? Well, it's important to do good because when I'm doing good, then I can share the good news of, me doing good. Why is it important for you to share the good news? It's important for me to share the good news because there are people right now looking for this news but they don't know where it is. And they're looking for people like me who've done it, who can show them. Why is it important for you to show people the results of your life? It's important for me to show the results of my life because we all have a life and we're all living this life. But unfortunately, so few of us know how to manage it all. Counting their time, counting their opportunities, and accounting for their homes and spirituality. How does one account for the life that they have? Why is it important for people to account for the life that they have? Because you only get one life to live. There was a time in these why questions that I could have felt it. But I just know that when we are working through our why, we have to get to the crux all the way down to where we find what we are looking for. See, because there's going to be times when you want to quit. Guys, I think I shared maybe a few weeks back, a few episodes ago, how I wanted to quit this platform. I wanted to quit because I was tired. I lost my parents. I was making excuses now, guys. I lost my parents, and life is hard, and it's just so hard to do this every day. I used to do this every day. I'm just working on getting back to once a week. I'm working on getting back to once a week, and what I'm learning over the last couple of months is, why am I doing this anyway? I should just do it. I was a robot at one point. So it's important for you to know why. It's important for you to understand your why. It's important for you to really revisit this why, because when we revisit the why, then the times when we get tired, we can go right to where the real why is. And we can say, that's right. Not just doing it for the sake of that. I'm really doing it for the sake of this. Why? What's interesting about why is this? Do you know that you can create a reality that's not visible through your why? Now, did you know that there's things that have been created in our experience here on this planet that, one, no one had ever heard of, and two, they got everybody to believe it? Now, here's the thing. A person can get out here and create their own narrative. It could be a lie, and people will believe it, because people will believe it when you believe it. When you go the extra mile. They went the extra mile to tell us that we needed to eat cereal in the morning for breakfast. They went the extra mile to tell us that we need to eat a high carbohydrate diet. They went the extra mile to do this. They went an extra mile to tell us, oh, well, you need all these. When your baby is born, we got to shoot the baby up with all this stuff. They went the extra mile, and you trusted. We trusted all these establishments. And here's what they did. They had a why for what they were doing. Now it's messed up, but they had a why. They want to control you. I don't want to be controlled. It's funny. I was looking at an assessment that I took about a year or so, maybe a year and a half ago. It's called a flight assessment. That Eric Thomas gives to most of the people in the coaching program. A friend of mine, he's one of Eric's coaches. And so he gave me the assessment, and I was just looking at it yesterday. I just stumbled across it. And there's levels of different things, right? And one of the areas in my life is that I'm a rebeller. I rebel. Like, I don't want the established rules. Like, when you just try and push stuff on me, I'm like, no, something's not right. So one of the things that I look for in life, and I'm almost done here, I look for in life is the things that resonate with me. And so the reason why I'm able to see certain things now is because I've been looking for it all my life. Man, they've been filling me up with all this junk, all these vaccines. You don't even need that stuff. It's just making you sick. Oh my goodness, they're just trying to make us eat a certain way so that, one, you become sick. So what they did is they created a situation, and I'm not going to go too far here. They created a situation so that people will be sick, so that then they can feed the machine of hospitals and medicines. Their why for doing it was important for them. What was their why? Control, make money. Control, make money. And here's the thing. What would you like to control? Here's the thing. You're a good person. You want to do good. I want to do good. Here's what I want to control. I want to control the narrative on how people look at their life and how they can account for it. So my job, my whole mission in life is to get people to believe, to know what I'm saying is true. And they say, whatever he's saying is true. How do you do that? You got to have a why that helps you to push through even when things are slow, even when it doesn't seem to be working, even when all hell breaks through in your life and you lose your parents, you lose people in your life, you still go, because what you realized is we are here for a purpose. Proverbs 19:21, I believe it says, many are the plans in a man's heart, but it's the Lord's purpose. It's the Lord's why that will prevail. Is your why aligned to the purpose of your life? I know that this why that I have is aligned with the purpose of my life. What about you? Ask yourself this question today as we end. Is my why aligned with the purpose of my life? If it's not, get it aligned and then get a new why. And make sure that your why is so important that it doesn't matter what happens in life. You will always be moving in full clarity of what that means, so that when the inevitable hard times come, you are able to push through, because your why is more important than anything else in your life. So guys, I want to thank you for joining me for this episode of the I AFYL Podcast. Guys, I hope that you got value from this episode. Be sure to like, share, subscribe to the channels wherever you're watching this. And I look forward to seeing you again on the next episode. God bless, and I'll see you soon. Peace.
This has been the Account for Your Life podcast with your host, the healthy accountant himself, Jay Moore. Until next time, make it a great day.